Welcome to Group 4's Learning Spaces project presentation. We found that a learning space should be designed to influence levels of interaction and engagement, increase levels of student and teacher interaction through formal and informal means, help to develop skills for life and work beyond the classroom, and promote a sense of well-being, keep minds focused, and limit distraction. In the box, you will find words that we came up with as we brainstormed for our learning space for this project. Our guiding question is, how is the room organized and arranged to ensure that all students have equal access to learning both individually and collaboratively? Our learning space is designed for a middle school classroom. The layout includes 4 zones that give students a choice in what kind of learning space works best for them, help them to work collaboratively, communicate, and engage in critical thinking, and use technology to enhance and extend their learning. In this zone, we emphasize flexible seating. Flexible seating is available for students to work independently and collaboratively, or if they're just looking for a quiet space. We have sitting chairs, sofas, bean bags, exercise balls, and open rug space. The shelves and book stands facilitate organization and learning in this zone. Our shelves are clearly labeled along with the classroom materials. Our classroom library is also located in this zone, and the book stands have teacher and peer recommended and content-focused books on the stands. It is important to have expectations for a flexible learning space. Our expectations in this zone are to choose a working space that helps students learn best, called a smart spot. Students need to use seats appropriately. If a spot is not working for students, they need to make a choice to move to a better spot so that they can continue to work. It's important that students take good care of classroom supplies and materials, and that they know that teachers can move anyone at any time. Research shows that comfort can have a positive effect on learning, productivity, and creativity. Zone 1 offers comfortable and flexible seating for students who want to work collaboratively and independently. The furnishings help to create a comfortable ambiance and allows students to spread out as they work. The space can also serve as a quiet area for students to work or read. Adding to the open space in the classroom, teachers and students can move about easily. Zone 1 enables students and teachers to discover and better understand what type of learning works best by providing students a choice in where they want to learn. A bright and colorful area rug invites students to work comfortably on the floor. Beanbag chairs are ergonomically designed, and the comfy chairs and couches provide alternative soft seating for students. The seating options in Zone 1 also facilitate work using laptops or iPads. Zone 1 is easily integrated with other zones in the classroom. Students can use this area as a breakout space to meet in groups or as a place to sit during instruction or small group discussions. A potential challenge that teachers might face is letting go of the traditional way of thinking with seating charts and a room filled with traditional desks and chairs. Teachers must be open and flexible to try something new and to trust their students in a new learning environment. Click the link icon on the right side of the screen to access the video.
Zone 2 easily accommodates group learning and collaboration. In this zone, student groups can work at their own pace. Each group has access to whiteboard space to share ideas and brainstorm with their peers. The round tables provide a large surface for students to work together on projects and tasks. The projector and smartboard can be used to play interactive games and explore together on the web. Storage units contain supplies and manipulatives for the students. This slide shows the different learning activities that students can take part in while in Zone 2. Students are self-directed while working in this zone. Giving students control over their learning process will help them build independence, will teach them to take initiative, and will encourage them to take ownership over their own learning and growth. They have access to resources and tools that they need to successfully collaborate with their peers. Having more opportunities to work with peers will expose them to a variety of perspectives, teach empathy skills, improve communication skills, and promote divergent thinking. This slide shows the furniture and equipment students will have access to while working in Zone 2. The round tables can be separated if needed to create more space. Students can choose from a variety of stools to meet their needs. All resources students may need are stored in the storage units and clearly labeled for easy use. The last slide for Zone 2 shows the way that the walls will be decorated. The walls will be informational and inspirational. They will help motivate students as they work independently and collaboratively.
Click the link on the right side of the screen above the plus sign to access the video.
So for Zone 3, we've kind of nicknamed this part of the classroom the collaboration station. You can tell by the cutout picture on the slide, this is a very large part of the classroom, and it's pretty centrally located. So just a couple of the major features, the tables, I'll get into more detail with that on the next slide, but those are all going to be very unique and very student-centered so that they can be used in multiple ways. Also, each group of student tables is going to have a whiteboard to facilitate collaborative learning and communication through nonverbal ways. Also, there are 2 kidney tables, as they're labeled, which are half circle tables that can also be manipulated. Right now, they're in kind of like a circle format. This would be for whole group instruction, small group instruction, and then there's also a projector. Along the bottom wall, there are shelves. We have very specific purposes for these shelves, and also the storage unit, which is in the corner, that I will go into on the next slides. The focal point of Zone 3 of the classroom are the collaborative work tables. It was intentional that there not be any individual desks in the classroom because we felt that in a 21st century classroom, the most important skills students need to learn are centered around collaboration, cooperation, and communication, and we believe that this type of furniture setup will help facilitate all of these. These tables attempt to enhance all of these aspects of student learning in several ways. First, the tables are adjustable to optimize student choice and empower kids to find their learning zone, whether it be standing, sitting around, or even underneath the square tables. If tables are raised, backpacks can also be stored underneath to keep the footpaths open. Each table has a mobile whiteboard for students to communicate and share their ideas in a more visual, nonverbal way, as well as a plexiglass tabletop to work out their individual ideas so both independent and collaborative learning are being facilitated. The half-moon-shaped tables are specifically placed near the projectors to support whole class discussion and instruction. The projector table has a teacher workstation attached to it, similar to the one shown in the video of a previous module when they redesigned the math teacher's classroom. It is also very easy for teachers to run small group discussions by sitting in the center of the tables as shown on the slide and giving each group differentiated tasks. Both sets of tables are on wheels, allowing the room to be rearranged according to the environment students prefer, and also allows the teacher to model collaborative working environments for students in both small or large groups. The shelves along the wall would ideally be used as standing desks during whole class instruction, which is why they would need to remain clear on the top. Also, because the shelves block the wall space, this might be a great area to display student work or have students complete a quick comprehension task and post it on the wall, and it would protect students' work from being from falling down or being bumped into or brushed against, which is something that I always struggle with in my classroom. The storage area is also on wheels and would house textbooks or other reference materials. The top would also be a space where students might turn in work. Having one location for students to turn in and collect graded work helps decrease the class time spent on distributing papers, as students could make their way over to the storage area on their own time during class. The other smaller features, but nevertheless very important, are that each square student table would have plexiglass on the top, or even just like a whiteboard surface, as you can see in the photo. And also the projector would be projecting onto a smartboard or interactive whiteboard. The projectors can be used by the teacher to give all students instruction about a particular task before they might choose which area of the room they prefer to work in. The center of the room having collaboration tables also emphasizes and encourages students to come together during the learning process at some point. The computer area might be integrated during student projects. As they finish research on the computers, they can easily transition to a round table or a square table and begin sharing what they found, either on the tabletop plexiglass or on the whiteboards. The storage and shelving units being on wheels can also help them be integrated into other areas of the classroom by either creating more sectioned off areas or emphasizing a large open space format. It would be a great way for teachers to make books and other heavy resources more available to students and eliminate a lot of aimless wandering that seems to happen when students have to cross the classroom to get materials. Some of the limitations for these resources would most definitely be budgeting. A lot of the standing desks and plexiglass and projectors all can be very expensive. Just as an individual piece without the chairs or stools, they can run hundreds of dollars. Also, a significant amount of time must be spent teaching students the expectations that you have for choosing this collaboration station zone, just to make sure that students understand the purpose of all of these resources, modeling for them how to use them effectively and when the appropriate time would be to work together or independently. So once again, just to wrap up, Zone 3, the collaboration station, for me, one of the most important features are the tables, the fact that they are on wheels, that you can adjust the height to allow students to really find their learning zone where they're comfortable. Also, the location of the tables in the center really communicates to students that you are encouraging them to collaborate and work together. It's not single desks in rows. It's really a group effort, and the fact that this zone is kind of in the middle of the room communicates that in a very nonverbal way. So in terms of implementing this, first and foremost, finding the materials. I know that at my school, it's been a challenge to find standing desks. One of the things I've been able to do is repurpose bookshelves. So if there's an older bookshelf that maybe teachers aren't using or can be tipped on its end, I will put books in the bottom to kind of stabilize it, and then I will let students actually put their notebooks and materials on the first shelf and then stand at it. As a middle school teacher, the height of bookshelves can sometimes be challenging, but once you turn them on their side, it works really great to encourage students to stand, just kind of let them have their ownership over the classroom. The interactive whiteboards, I know that there are a ton of great resources for those, and a lot of schools are moving towards interactive whiteboards. So implementing that, I would encourage to definitely attend professional development or trainings and how to use them and all of the wonderful resources that they have to offer. One of the big takeaways for me that I plan to implement in my own classroom is figuring out how to use the storage areas and the shelving units. And also, I was really encouraged to eliminate my teacher work desk because I find that I'm standing most of the day and moving around the room. So figuring out another use for my teacher desk is something that I'm challenging myself to do this year.
The technology center of the classroom is meant to serve several different purposes. Students are able to do two different things there. They're able to work individually and they're able to work collaboratively. Individually, they can use the internet, they can use programs to pursue things that they're interested in, and also to work with specific academic software that perhaps adjust to their specific academic level or needs. In terms of collaboration, that can work in partners, groups, or as a class as a whole. There's so many amazing programs out there, such as Google Doc, Microsoft, OneNote, all of these that allow students to collaborate with one another in real time on projects or research reports or anything of that matter. The point of this center is really to allow students, for many of them, the first time to explore technology in a way that is outside of just social media, but also to explore it in a way that's academic, that's going to teach them how to use technology to learn rather than to just communicate with each other. This station will look different based on the specific school and classroom's resources. In our class, we've set up what looks like desktops placed in rows in a neat and organized manner. However, it could also be laptops set up in this manner, iPads set up in this manner, whatever type of technology is provided to the individual teacher. I would also love to see flexible seating provided at this station, such as athletic balls, medicine balls, things like that for students to sit on that help with some of our squirmy learners. There also needs to be a consideration for accessibility for all types of students. In other words, there need to be headphones for students who need the computer to read to them, perhaps provide translations for them. And there also should be a microphone that will allow students to speak into the computer to type for them, or if they have trouble typing, or if they have visual impairments, this could allow them to still access technology. It's really important that technology is accessible for every type of student, no matter what their particular situation is. Lastly, one of the most important things that is really going to make or break whether technology is integrated effectively, and not just integrated, but done in a way that works, is how the teacher sets up the rules and the expectations for appropriate use and the way students are allowed to utilize this technology for their learning. First off, you have to make sure that all students understand whatever the basic skill is to complete the technological task that you're giving them, such as Microsoft Word. We really need to make sure we've walked a student through how do you do the basics on this program if we're expecting them to complete a type of word processing assignment. The same goes for PowerPoint, and the same goes for Google searching. I found that many of my students seemed very confident in their skills to be able to research whatever topic, but they have a really hard time critically thinking and working through what if that information, that huge amount of information that is provided to them, is actually trustworthy, relevant, reliable, any of those things. So technology can't just be handed to them, even though this is a generation that's extremely literate with technology. You have to remember that many of them may not be academically literate with technology. one of my favorite things that we have at our school is a program called Land School, and that allows us to completely limit web, to block certain sites, to only allow access to certain sites, and I found that to be hugely beneficial if that's something that's available to a teacher, just to keep kids on track, because we know even as adults we can get lost in the internet black hole, if you will, and kind of go off onto a tangent and get distracted. So we know it's just as easy for our kids to do it as it is for us to do it. So these expectations need to be posted really clearly for them, for every assignment that they're going to do. This is the program you should be on. This is about how much time you should be spending. This is the kind of work product we're expecting at the end of it. And same with basic rules for treating technology with respect, making sure your station's clean, making sure you're not destroying or hurting any piece of this technology that you're allowing a student to use, but you have to remind them they're also sharing it with all the other students that have access to this. So it's really important for them to respect and take care of the equipment that they're given. Lastly, I found with my students that setting clear consequences, and I actually allowed them to brainstorm with me and come up with it, for when they did lose track of these rules or expectations, helps a lot with keeping them on task and accountable for what they need to be doing.
This slide has the best way for educators to implement the design. We suggest first starting with an open mind, get rid of those ingrained visions of a traditional classroom. Next, have a vision for your space. Think about what is your goal for the space, your goal for the students, and for instruction. Include your students in the design process. They spend just as much time in the classroom as you do, and the space should enhance their learning. Who better to get your ideas from than your students? Do some research. You can find inspiration on Pinterest and teaching blogs. Education-based sites like Edutopia have great articles, videos, and ideas. Budget is always a concern. Look for do-it-yourself options and ideas. What do you have at home? Can parents donate items? Don't be afraid to ask for help. Fellow teachers, students, and parents may be able to help implement your design.
Here are some additional resources that our group used in this project. The three categories we have are additional readings from Edutopia about creating collaborative learning environments. Also, the website that we used to design our actual classroom. And finally, some more getting started, getting smart resources for implementation.